everyone, today we're going to show you how to make cinnamon rolls. It uses the same dough as our dinner rolls, so if you've already seen that video, I'm not going to spend too much time going over it. But what we have in here so far is 1 cup of warm milk that we warmed in the microwave for about 40 seconds. It should feel like bath water. If it burns you, it's too hot, it's going to kill the yeast, so make sure you wait till it cools down a little bit. Then we sprinkled in a tablespoon of yeast and added a 1/4 cup of sugar, a 1/4 cup of oil, and a teaspoon of salt. Our last ingredient to put in is 2½ cups of flour. I like using bread flour, but if all you have is all-purpose, that'll work just fine, so don't worry about that. You could use whole wheat if you want to try to make it a little healthier, although I would rather just make it really delicious and just have one instead of try to make something healthy that has butter and sugar and other wonderful things in it. So we're going to do 2 cups of flour. Again, anytime you measure flour, you should always scoop and level. With breads, it's not quite as important as getting it exactly right as it is with cakes and other baked goods. It's a lot more forgiving. We're going to put this under the mixer just for a few minutes to get it to come together into a dough. You could totally do it with a wooden spoon. This is going to be a pretty sticky dough, so don't worry about it if it kind of looks like a hot mess when you're done. Okay, so I let it go on the mixer with the dough hook for a couple minutes. As you can see, it's not a super solid dough from all the milk and sugar and oil in it. It's pretty soft and sticky. I'm going to cover this with some plastic wrap and let it rise at room temperature until it's double. If you're using rapid rise yeast, that's about 20 minutes. If you're using just regular active dry, could be up to 30 minutes depending on the temperature of your home. Hi, so what you can see is that our dough has risen. So it's about double in size. Before you start rolling it out, make sure that your counter is clean and then give it a good dusting with flour so that the dough doesn't stick. Ooh, put some flour in your hands so it doesn't stick to your fingers. This is a sticky dough, but it's super yummy. Okay, get that all out there. All right. That should be good. Then what you want to do is kind of coat it with some flour without squishing it too much because you don't want to lose all of the good bubbles in there. Okay, so we're gonna roll it out and to a rectangle. Try and get the dough off my fingers before we start. Of course, I always wear black when I'm playing with flour. Okay, and so you're gonna roll it, making sure that when you're rolling it, it's not stuck to the counter. Okay, and make it a little bit flatter so that it can hold more butter and sugar. You can leave it thicker if you like it that way, but okay. So that looks pretty good. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your butter. I melted a stick of butter. I'm not going to use all of it. I'm going to save a little bit of it for the icing, for the top of it when it comes out. So I'm going to keep back about a tablespoon or 2 in my bowl. Then the rest of it I'm going to kind of spread out here. You want to make sure you're going all the way to the edges. Okay. And then this side kind of shrunk in a little bit. You want it to try and be a rectangle if possible. Okay, then we're going to put the brown sugar on. I like the brown sugar. It's got a little bit better flavor. I don't have super good measurements because I just kind of sprinkle it on until it's coated, but if I had to guess, I would guess we put about a cup, maybe a little less. So you're gonna kind of spread it around. I'm just gonna kind of distribute it first before I really work it into the butter. And that looks about right. Then we're gonna sprinkle some cinnamon on it. Again, like a teaspoon to a tablespoon, depending on how much cinnamon you like. I just kind of give it a coating. And then once I have it kind of evenly distributed, I'm going to use my spoon to mix it all together so that we don't have huge chunks of brown sugar in there. It smells so good. I wish you guys could smell it. There's a big chunk of brown sugar in there. I'm just going to take that out because I couldn't smash it. Okay. So Again, just kind of making sure that what is up with my brown sugar? That every area is coated with butter and sugar and cinnamon, and it's not too thick or too thin in any areas. Make sure you go all the way to the edge if you can. Okie dokie. So now we're gonna roll it up. You're gonna start with the long edge that's farthest away from you, and you're just gonna kind of fold it over and keep rolling it towards you. And just kind of shake off that extra flour there. Keep rolling it. Okay, so now the single recipe makes 12 cinnamon rolls. Usually I double it so I could get 24 cinnamon rolls if I'm taking it to a meeting or something, or just making it for my family because there's 6 of us and we like cinnamon rolls. And then if I do that, I'll bake it on a big 11 by 17, just half baking sheet, like a big aluminum one. It's kind of sticking a little bit over here, a little bit of flour on it. Roll it up, and then once you've got it kind of a log there, we're gonna cut it up into 12 pieces. You could use a knife, or I use a bench scraper usually. I'm gonna grab that real quick because I forgot it. You could also use dental floss. I know that sounds super weird, but that keeps it from squishing the rolls. If you slide the dental floss underneath and then pull in opposite directions, it'll slice it and it'll keep it nice and round still. I just use this because it's really a lot faster. Okay, so I know I have to make 12 total, so I know each of those have to make 6. And so I know each of those pieces have to make 3. And so then I cut each one of those in thirds. See how this kind of flattens it, but it doesn't matter because it kind of, when it bakes, it goes back to how it should be. Okay, then we're gonna put these in the baking pan. I'm just using a glass 9 by 13, and I do 3 rows of 4. Kind of flatten them out a little bit there. They'll rise into each other. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, and 12. And then I'm gonna let this rise one more time now that it's shaped. I'm gonna cover it with my saran wrap from my bowl, or you could use a wet kitchen towel, that would also work. And then it'll rise again for about 20 minutes until they're about double. We'll put them into the oven, so I'm gonna go ahead and preheat the oven right now while the bread is rising, and then we'll bake them for 25 minutes and drizzle a little bit of icing. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes and the cinnamon rolls have risen a little bit. The oven's preheated to 350, so I'm going to go ahead and put those in there for 25 minutes. And then while those are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and make the icing. So remember, I have a little bit of butter left in there from when I was pouring the butter on the dough. I saved a couple tablespoons back for the frosting or icing. I have a little bit of powdered sugar left. I'm going to add about a cup of powdered sugar. I'll use that bag first. Pour a little bit more in there. So again, it's kind of a cup-ish. That looks good. Then I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of milk. Don't add too much, just a little bit in. Maybe start with 1 tablespoon. Oh, that was too much. Okay, and then you're going to stir it until it all comes together. You don't want it to be too thin, or else it'll just fall straight through the rolls. Actually, it looks pretty good. Making a mess. Okay, so this is just about right. As you can see, it's kind of runny still, but thick enough where it's not like too watery. So we're just going to let that sit up for a little while the rolls bake, and then we'll put that on top. Okay, the cinnamon rolls have been in for 25 minutes and they are all ready. You can see that it's kind of puffed up in some spots. You can see the sugar and butter bubbling around there in the bottom. I'm going to put the icing on it and then they'll be all done. So I start by putting just a little bit on top of each one. The cinnamon rolls will make it melt a little bit, and then it'll be pretty easy to spread around. See, like that already is starting to go. Ooh, this looks so good. I wish you guys could smell this. It smells so good. Okay, this is gonna be our dinner tonight. We're gonna have some scrambled eggs and sausage and fruit salad along with this. All right, and whoops, I broke that one. That is our cinnamon roll recipe. Enjoy.